Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beneath the Hollow Moon, where the folklore burns slow and the strange never fades. I'm your host, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. I'm here with my co-host, Lorilei Potvin, and tonight we are following the trail of werewolves.
We are.
We might add a little bit of Dogman in there too.
And a little bit of Skinwalker, a little bit of Wendigos aren't even close to werewolves, but sometimes they get confused with Skinwalkers. Here we go. Got someone here finally. We were worried there for a minute. Not really, but so I know somebody popped into Instagram right away. I saw you. A Arlington 67 joined in. Thanks for joining us. I think I saw you on Monday night, so thank you for popping in.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for being here. Hi, Victoria, Astrolite Paranormal. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Other people will file in. It will happen. We'll hold off on our intro video because that was a funny one.
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll just add into, if you are enjoying our program and are interested in finding out more about the shows that UPRN has to offer, you can head to uprntalkradio.com, and there's all kinds of information about our hosts and all of the shows. There's always new shows coming up. There's something for everyone, not all paranormal or high strangeness related. There's something for everyone.
There is, and we're always adding new hosts, new shows. Well, I got an itchy nose, but I got to remember I got black on it. So actually, I got to turn my light down a wee bit. No, I guess I had it. Oh, maybe it does need to. Anyways, are the aliens coming soon? We're not talking
We've already been here
for a long time. That's a different show coming up sometime in the future. But you guys, we got the shows planned for the next 8 months. So, yeah, 2 months. Some cool stuff. So we're just waiting for you guys to file in. Now, we were talking about this, and we know that we talked about Dogman before, or Dogman. But you kind of can't talk about one without the other, but we really didn't spend a lot of time on werewolves. And I was going to say we're just waiting until people are filing in, then we're going to say hi. There is a movie out there. There's so many of them. There's one that doesn't have actually the nicest name, but it's kind of a spoof, and it has werewolves and vampires, and it's quite hilarious. I did not name it, but it's called Lesbian Vampire Killers, and it's not about. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my gosh, it is.
But I'm going to look for it tonight.
Okay, so it's hilarious, and it's mainly about the vampire killers. Has nothing really, if I remember correctly. I've seen it. It's my partner Dell's, one of his movies he finds hilarious. And at the end, and I don't think they've made a sequel, they have an effeminate werewolf wearing high-heeled boots at the end, standing up and going, woo! And just the pose it takes. So I think it was supposed to be foreboding of what's to come, and I can't wait for it. But there's so many movies out there.
That sounds fun. I mean, werewolves are definitely part of our pop culture, right?
Well, you know what, when we were talking today and you brought up Penny Dread, and as I was thinking about it since we had talked, I think you've told me about it before. Now I so want to watch that series because it has a werewolf in it, right?
Oh, yeah, Penny Dread. So Ethan Chandler, he was the werewolf. And he was brooding and moody and emotional, and really struggled with his humanity, essentially, and his soul, and being cursed, and his relationships with people, and wanting relationships, and how can he do this as a cursed being, right? With no control and wanting to have control. And Penny Dreadful, everything about Penny Dreadful is divine to me.
Should we say hi to people? They're all filing in now. So should we say hi? Do you want me to highlight and you read?
Sure.
Okay. So hang on. I'm going to highlight. Hopefully my computer is going to play nice. So we already said hi about She was the first one here. She should have wrote first.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Victoria and family. Astrolight Paranormal. I'm going to get to meet them in person, Astrolight Paranormal, in November. November 1st, I'm doing an event at the Station Theater in Smiths Falls. Yeah, and they're going to be there. And so is Kat from Paranormal Heart here on UPRN. So she's going to be there as well, too. Denise Mitz, hello. Happy Thursday to all.
And then I believe Kerrilynn and I will at least get some time to get together because she's coming back up to Thunder Bay for the Paracon. Is it October 16th?
Yeah, like October 16th at Lake Superior Paracon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So somehow, some way, I'm sure you'll see some pictures, maybe, depending if timing's right. I don't know. Maybe we'll get
for sure. We may do the Thursday show live together on the Thursday. Yes. Yeah. Michelle Wilfong, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Michelle has a TikTok channel, My Haunted Apartment. Please check it out. I know that she helps us out when you are live on TikTok. Do you want to?
We would be live on TikTok for every show, but TikTok doesn't like the program I found so that we can stream the actual show to you, because I can set up another device, but it's just going to see me and hear through my computer. So they penalize me. So next week, fingers crossed, I'm going to save it for our Thursday show because they'll penalize me for a week. And I'm not doing anything wrong. They just want me to use a TikTok streaming software. It doesn't play nice with StreamYard, but she is my mod over there and she's incredible. Hi, Kai. Hi, Chris.
Kozowski. Are the aliens coming soon? I don't know. What's your thoughts? They've been here already.
They're here.
Julie Jean Bassett, our animal communicator, shamanic friend.
Yes.
Hi, Lorilei, Kerrilynn, and everyone.
And she has, you guys, if you need help, I'll make it quick, but need help with your animal's earth side, whether it's healing, behavioral issues, you want to talk to your animals across the Rainbow Bridge. Julie's your person. She has an animal communication course coming up sometime this month, as well as an animal chakra healing program in the making coming soon. So you can get a hold of her on juliejeanbassett.com. Shamanic practitioner, can help you with so many levels of healing. I've had a session with her, life-changing. You can get a hold of her on whitetailshamanichealing.com. So
correct. We've both utilized her
yes, and I should have said that. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, we both have.
Cindy Waghorn, thank you so much for being here. Surrender and Shine, fabulous energy healing and offerings that she has. So please check her out.
And then this is another one of my besties, Leanne. You know what she told me yesterday? She said, finally, and I told you this off air, and I may have said it before, but we're showing up now on people's YouTube feeds, which is good for some people. So it reminds her that we're live. So thanks for being here, Leanne. Leanne and I have a course coming out. We're working on it every week, and it's going to be called The Nature of the Journey. And the bottom part of it is Foundations in Spirituality. So it's coming. We're working on it. So hang on.
We're excited.
We're excited. It's coming. We're working. We set aside time every week to work on it.
Kirby's 100. Thank you so much for always showing up and being here with us. Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, we got another blue. If I don't get this in the perfect spot, what this does is it puts a blue box above saying hide current comment, and then it puts new comments. So I have to get it right in the middle, you guys. That's what the problem is. Otherwise, I end up hiding you by accident.
Hello, Mish. Good day, you too. Looking amazing. Thank you so very much.
And Mish is in the future because she's in Australia. So it's already Friday there. Oh, see, it's not wanting to play nice. It has to be in the perfect spot.
Oh, hello, Deb. Thank you for being here. My friend Deborah Moore. She is a brilliant medium. She lives in California. She is saying, my tea for Halloween just arrived. Le Ho Fook restaurant in Soho. How fabulous.
Love it.
Robbo Combs, great site.
I don't know. Did I highlight Denise yet? I didn't know if I did or not. Denise Smits? I think I did. Did I not?
I'm not sure, but we're going to say hello again, Denise Smits.
Hello again.
Yes. Yeah. Appreciate all of your support showing up for all of the shows.
Julie says she loves the name of our title of our course. Thank you, because we are actually building off of that and using the roots of a tree and building up. We've got some great ideas. It's going to be a lot of fun. Got that coffee, Miss. She says, I'm still in bed. We were talking about coffee on your show last Friday. We were all, Tessa and Mish and I, about the coffee.
I love my coffee routine in the morning. It's a ritual. I love just taking my time, the smell of the coffee, the process of making it. Like, I enjoy that morning ritual.
And you know me well enough. I think Leanne does too. When I don't have coffee and I just need one cup, I've accepted I have ADHD. I know I do. I know you've accepted it too. I do. Mm-hmm. I need that coffee to calm my mind. You would think it would speed your mind ahead, but it just kind of settles.
Yeah, it's the opposite. Mm-hmm. Heidi Gold, thank you so much for being here. Good evening, Kerrilynn Lorilei.
Yes, we're always glad you're here to support everybody in the network, all of y'all. Oh, Contessa, were your ears burning? I just mentioned you.
Hello, Contessa.
Let's see. Kirby's 100.
Kirby's 100 is sharing, I've seen Lesbian Vampire Killers. It's a good movie. Lots of close-ups of the female vampires' mouths and fangs while they exhale. Perfect.
It's not serious cinema, but it is funny. Oh, Leanne and everybody's saying they love their morning coffee time too. And Mish says,
oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with your mugs, Kerrilynn. So on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, I do a morning porch post. I've done it for, 9-10 years now. Just, a little blurb of something, sharing a thought, and a different coffee mug. And I've got a lot of mugs. And I keep saying I'm going to do a reel with all the mugs, but I don't quite know how to do it. But I will eventually.
Oh, Julie's saying she loves her morning coffee ritual as well. You know who loves my morning coffee ritual in the morning? And I have to guard my coffee judiciously? My cat.
Oh, that's funny.
Because I like my coffee sweet. I never used to. Like when I work nights, I used to never put sugar or cream in it or anything because I never wanted to learn to like it. So now I use natural sweetener, and I do love those flavored creamers. And my cat is a coffee pig, and I never realized how strong a cat's sense of smell is. It's not quite as good as a dog's. I don't watch it. He will tip it over just so he can get into the coffee, and he's done it.
Bruce, my dog Bruce is that way too. If you
leave the coffee, drink it.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Oh yeah, it's horrible. If I leave the cup down, it's my own fault. He's right in it.
No, she'll drink it. Like if it does get knocked over by the cat, of course I'm going to wipe it up. I don't want the dog having a ton of coffee, but if she can get in there and get a slurp or two, she's quite happy.
So funny, eh? Contessa Martins, I can't start my day without coffee. And Leanne was also sharing, I love my morning coffee time. Yes. Somebody else said the routine. Oh, Julie Jean is saying the same thing. I love my morning ritual as well.
I take it outside, and I know you do with the porch, but I do it every morning. I don't care if it's 50 below. It might not be a long time, but I go outside and I just kind of get grounded and look at the nature that's outside. And
that's a very big part of it, like connecting with the world around you. We have the most stunning, it's beautiful, very huge old tree on the boulevard in front of the house. And it's just, connecting with the world around us.
It is. You know what I have found has helped? I don't get upset very often, but if I go outside, I don't even have to think about grounding, just sitting and just looking at nature and stuff. I come in a completely different frame of mind. Outside is magical.
For sure. I agree.
It is. So we said we were going to start this off with a little bit of humor. Do you want me to upload it?
Yeah, you can set it up for sure.
It's all ready to go. So hang on. That's what I was fighting with as we were trying to get ready there. Okay, make sure, did it pull up or not? No. Oh, it did pull up. So this is on, I didn't download anything tonight, but make sure the volume's working. Okay, volume. Okay, get ready for this one, guys.
following a werewolf sighting in Delaware, just north of Columbus. One local man was able to catch the alleged creature on camera and is convinced what he saw is the real thing.
Several people have tagged me in this video that shows real footage of what many believe to be a legitimate Delaware wolf in Delaware, Ohio. If it were in any other state, I wouldn't take it seriously, but let's take a look at that footage.
I know what I saw. It was a werewolf, and I caught it on my ring cam.
It is hard to argue the evidence. The creature is part man, part wolf.
Friends, I've spent 3 years on watching thousands of videos of people claiming that they caught something on camera that might be the real deal, and I'm here to tell you now, today, October 8th, this looks like the real deal. I went to a convention center on the wrong day to the wrong convention. When I walked in that room, there were thousands of beasts that looked just like this. And I'm here to tell you now that one in your yard, not a big deal. But if you get 2 or 3 of them bad boys in the yard together at once, you're going to have a mess on your hands in the morning. A slippery, fur-covered mess. And my advice is to keep plenty of mistletoe, rowan, rye, wolfsbane, and silver around the home, because you don't want to clean up that mess. Sleep well if you can, Ohio, and memento mori.
That's pretty well it, but oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And you have to, I don't know, I think having a sense of humor with it, and I know that it is not to dismiss any belief systems either, but I think that we need to have a sense of humor with all of it. Including aliens, spirituality, we have to have a sense of humor with it as well too.
I think that that's what helps us connect to spirit, is being like watching something like that puts you in a higher vibrational state. We're laughing, we're giggling, we're not making fun of anybody. We're just like, and sometimes we do see videos like that, and then you get AI and all kinds of things, right?
Yeah, and having that sense of laughter it does help you process information, and it helps you open up to spirit for sure. But having that sense of humor, like when you get scared, so when you watch scary movies,
that's why I won't watch scary movies. But
then you have to watch the funny stuff after.
Well, what was the first movie I brought up? And Kirby's 100 had seen it. It's funny. It's not spooky, but it's almost like, I think with a bit of laughter with it, you can kind of examine these spooky themes and to keep your beings in a safer space if you don't like the scary stuff.
That's right. It's still initiating the conversation for sure.
I have too wild of an imagination. I do. And I say, I am like a big kid. You know, I am. What do I delight in half the time, going and picking up my mini-verse? I even said to the guy at my Walmart, because they were carrying the new Back to Hogwarts Harry Potter, which indeed does have a werewolf in it. And I said to him, my God, I feel like an absolute nut job being in the toy department, always looking, and it's adults that buy them. But still, right? I think if we keep that childlike wonder, the ability to laugh and to be able to have some fun with things, it doesn't mean we're making fun of it, but I think it brings that vibrational state in and balances maybe some of the fear.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Absolutely. I was going to say, you had a poll that you did. When do you want to pull that, or you want to pull
yeah, we can talk about the poll. I'm loving doing these polls. I hope you guys are as well too.
I thought they were great. I took advantage.
The polls I find interesting. So I actually did a bunch of polls this morning.
Hi, Greg.
Hello, Greg. Thank you for being here.
Well, you're pulling it up. I'm going to read Contessa's comment. She said, I agree, Lorilei. I greet my squirrels that live on my neighbor's tree. It's very grounding and connecting with nature. Plus, we're dealing with the nature basically here tonight.
Yeah, like when when I think of werewolf, I am so movie oriented. I am very read books, watch movies. I watch a lot of movies. And so that's where my mind always goes. So, and pop culture. So the poll kind of started off that way. One of the polls, the first question I put was, what type of werewolf are you? Which of these best fits your vibe? And people in the chat, feel free to chime in as we're talking about the polls. So A, noble protector, think Professor Lupin from Harry Potter, which was the top one. That was the one most people chose. B, ferocious alpha, which I don't know how ferocious Jacob actually was in Twilight, but he was, you know.
He was supposed to be.
He was supposed to be ferocious. That's right. C, tragic cursed soul, so David from the American Werewolf in London, or D, a gothic hybrid, Celine from Underworld. And so would you do protective, like a noble protector? Like
I actually let me pick two. I didn't mean to, because at first I picked Professor Lupin, but then the one with Celine, I picked that too because of the movie Underworld.
So that was number 2. That was number 2. So the first one was noble protector, like Lupin, Professor Lupin from Harry Potter, and the second choice was Celine from the Underworld, and that's kind of where.
Is that what you picked?
Yeah, that would be my choice too.
Okay. Contessa says protector for me. Kasoon, you missed the coffee talk. We were just talking coffee about 5 minutes ago, and I know it's the middle of the night over in Sri Lanka.
Thank you for being here. So question number 2, poll number 2, folks.
Excuse me.
Favorite werewolf transformation. So pick your ultimate transformation style. So again, think in movies and pop culture and books, right? So the choices were, the top one that was chose was lighthearted and comedic, thinking teen wolf situation. Number 2 that was chose was subtle, haunting wolf human hybrid. So Ethan Chandler from Penny Dreadful was number 2 choice, top choice. Came in 3rd, the full beast mode, primal and savage. So the movie The Howling. And last picked was intense, elaborate body horror, American Werewolf in London. I kind of like that too, though. Like that intense, primal.
Well, do you remember when Michael Jackson had the video come out? And that was groundbreaking, that video, when they had him morph into basically a werewolf.
Yeah.
I picked B.
You picked B? The haunting, subtle. And because he still, Ethan Chandler still kept those human sort of qualities. He was just like morphed out and feral after, but had those sort of human qualities still. So then the next poll was most iconic werewolf weakness. So the top choice that everyone chose was the full moon triggers the curse. Next up was silver. Next up, 3rd was no weaknesses, an invincible beast.
No weaknesses.
No weaknesses. And then the last chosen was wolfsbane or other herbal cures.
What did you pick?
I think silver.
Okay.
I don't know. I just think even if it was dimensional, I know silver can affect fairies as well too. So I just kind of feel like there's maybe something there. Contessa's saying no weakness.
I picked the same, Contessa. I picked the same ones as you. It looks like, Contessa, you picked Penny Dreadful. I picked that.
Penny Dreadful Wolf. I know. Ethan Chandler. Josh Hartnett. Okay, which werewolf era do you prefer? So the top choice ended up being teen, young, adult drama, Twilight and Wolfblood. Second choice that people chose was action fantasy hybrids, like the Underworld. I love the Underworld series. I don't know. It tends to be a go-to movie for me to have in the background when I'm doing things. So third choice people made was 80s practical effects horror, like An American Werewolf in London and The Howling, and came in last place the classic gothic horror, The Wolfman from 1941. Okay, so I added in, just because I know that we're going to add in a little bit of dog man tonight too. I wrote, is the dog man? Something else was the top choice. The other choices that came in second was undiscovered beast.
That's me. Undiscovered.
Third was myth. And the last one, which I kind of lean towards, is our fears manifested.
Do you really believe that's what the dog man is?
Potentially, yeah. We talk about it so much. So I don't know.
I just know, going back through history, that there was, so it's rumored. Oh, Greg Koss says Lon Chaney was the best. There was supposedly a race very similar to the dog man. They look very much alike, bipedal, and they didn't use language, but they spoke in growls and, anything that you would expect a wolf-like being or dogman-like being that you might hear nowadays. And they were civilized, apparently. So where did they come from and where did they go?
I don't know. Maybe they had enough of everybody on the planet and just decided to vibrate off like Atlantis.
Contessa thinks it's a hybrid. I don't know. There's interesting theories.
Hybrid what?
Good question.
Like what made hybrid?
Do you want to tell people maybe where they can, because I bet you there's people listening going, well, I didn't see the polls. How do I participate? You want to let them know how they can find them?
Sure. So on my Facebook public page, I have a channel, and on the channel is called Kerrilynn's Off the Porch. And so it's a hit and miss, but I'm getting better at it, dropping some things in there for folks. And I've been doing the polls in there for the show. It's been
And they show up in Messenger. At least they did for me in Facebook.
Yeah, they will show up in Messenger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I like about it?
Wolf
that
and
it's
dog.
That's what Contessa said, wolf and dog. But I was going to say, you know what I like about when you do the polls and everything? It's very clean, meaning it's meant something for you to share with your audience. They could still participate with the polls, but they're not hard to find. And I don't mean this disrespectfully, but there's not a bunch of comments and conversation. There's other pieces to your page or whatever, and I can do the same, where you can have those conversations. But it's mainly for you to be able to communicate. And I like that because it's easy.
Yeah, I can share things. People, I know that I've given the people on the off the porch heads up to things that are coming before other people know about it. Behind the scenes stuff at events. I've taken a few pictures at events behind the scenes and dropped them in the channel for people to see. It's something I'm getting used to doing because I forget about doing stuff sometimes, right?
I'm just glad, so we tell people, excuse me, if they're listening and they want to participate. For example, 2 people that have been on the Angel Rock before a few times. We've got Chris Latarre over on Instagram on the Angel Rock, and we have Constance Victoria Briggs joining us as well. So thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Julie goes, I missed the polls.
There'll be more.
What I'd like to ask people, anybody listening, if you've ever felt that you've seen a dog man, maybe heard one, but even more so maybe a werewolf. Have you ever suspected somebody you know has something a little odd? I don't know if we'll get to one of the videos tonight, but there is one I sent to Kerrilynn, and somebody's reviewing it, and this gentleman's dog was going crazy on the property and barking. And then you see 2 red eyes in the background. But what freaked me out the worst was his picture just frozen. The guy's eyes are glowing, and I'm thinking, is he a werewolf?
So, okay, the videos that we may find, right? So we know that AI can play a factor. But then how do we discern the difference? Is it a werewolf or a dog man?
I was just going to say that to you.
Right? How do you discern the difference? Because would we know it was a werewolf that has turned because of a curse or the moon or whatever it is? or a creature that has always been that way, born that way, grew up that way, or just, you know?
So some of the things I looked at, because I got into a little bit of the history, I'm going to get into the differences in a sec here. I even asked, what's that?
I keep thinking, like, okay, crocodile and alligator. One's got a short snout, the other one's got a long snout. So is werewolf and dogman sort of the same? Their snout looks different, or do we find a pile of clothes for the werewolf dude somewhere?
I'm looking because I did look at the differences. So give me a I have so much information. Give me a sec.
Greg Cost, yes, Beast of Bray Road. Yeah.
We're getting into that tonight if we have enough time.
Yeah. The Michigan Dogman.
Where are you? Okay, werewolf versus dogman appearance. Because I even asked, are there other creatures, entities, anything connected to also a full moon? Because that's why we chose it, you guys. There's a crazy full moon coming up.
On the 7th.
Yeah, on the 7th. And in certain parts of the world, there's even going to be an eclipse. So there's a lot of powerful energy out there.
I think if Cindy, you may be able to help me out. Because I know that you're part of our friend Joni's. Hello, Iris Rose. Thank you so much for being here. I know that you're part of Joni's Astrology, the series group. Is the full moon is in an eclipse? Is it with Pisces as well too? Like it's a supercharged, like on steroids.
Mm-hmm. The corn moon this on the 7th. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I got werewolf versus dogman appearance. So mythologically in folklore, it says in European folklore, for example, Greek, French, German, werewolves are humans who transform into wolves or wolf-human hybrids, often during a full moon. They may appear as large wolves with human-like intelligence, or as bipedal creatures with a furry humanoid body, wolf-like head, pointed claws, and fangs. Medieval tales like Marie de France, 12th century, Beast Clavray, I think it says, describes them as wolves with human traits. Well, 20th century media, for example, the Wolfman, popularized the bipedal hairy hybrid with a wolfish snout and blue or yellow eyes. I have heard that about werewolves before.
Having blue eyes?
I've heard that before.
Seeing that? So is it Samoyed Huskies that have the blue eyes?
I have a story about a mythical beast. I don't think I've told it on this story of a wolf that I encountered. I would love to share it in a minute. But let's read Cindy's comments here.
I had it up while you were reading. So yes, Cindy's sharing, yes, Pisces at 15 degrees and affects our north nodes on our birth charts.
We're getting into that, Cassin. Don't you worry. Remind me about the wolf story, because I'd like to go into the dogmen, and because I don't quite know the difference. Like there's a few things, and I'm thinking it's the eyes, because if I remember with my research with the dogmen, most people reported very intelligent, almost like glowing yellow or red or orange eyes with the dogmen. So the appearance apparently of a dogman. Our modern North American cryptids are consistently bipedal or quadrupedal. That's interesting, because I haven't seen that come up with the werewolf being quadrupedal. So they're either bipedal or quadrupedal canines that do not shapeshift from humans. They're described, that's I think as well, as 6 to 8 feet tall when upright. I didn't see, and I'd love to hear once I just got a bit more, whether you've heard, because I think there's a height and size difference. So it says 6 to 8 feet tall when upright. I've heard even bigger. With a canine head, often resembling a German shepherd or wolf. Digigrade, so toe walking legs, because that was another thing I've also seen with dogmen. Their legs are so distinct it's the ones they're standing on. They're
kind of lanky.
Yeah, but it was almost like they were backwards.
Bent? Oh, yeah. It's weird.
And very long arms with clawed hands. Reports like those from Michigan, 1987, Wexford County, or Bray Road, which Greg mentioned. Note amber, yellow. No, they put blue eyes. I've always heard, very glowing, fiery, yellow or red or orange. They're mentioning some blue, and a muscular build of about 400 to 500 pounds, and fur ranging from black to gray. Did you notice anything different in your stuff with dogmen and werewolves?
No. What I found Contessa is sharing, growing up, I always thought werewolves turned completely into a wolf, like completely shape-shifting. And Dogman looked more like standing like a man with dog face and fur and thin.
Plus, I think they're bigger is what the report is. And I just noticed
Dogman is bigger?
Yes, bigger, heavier, like just so ripped. People have reported muscular wise, size wise, speed wise, everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So
my impression was that Dogman was taller and
bigger.
Yeah.
So go ahead, finish, please.
I'm not sure how I want to say it anyway, though. Like morphed out.
Well, there was the key trait for dogmen. They are a distinct species, not humans, with no transformation. They resemble upright canines or chimeras, often compared to a wolfman, but without human origins. Now they're comparing them here if you want, but go ahead. I know you're going to say something there. So
no, I was just going to ask if any stories talk about dogman being like more than one. You know, like eventually when there's a Bigfoot sighting, when there's a Bigfoot sighting, they'll say like it sounds like they're being flanked. Eventually they're being flanked, that there's a family unit that
I've heard that before.
So dogmen having the same.
So it says appearance comparison. Werewolves often have more human-like features. For example, flatter snouts, plantigrade feet. So flat feet like humans. Sorry, did you say something? Sorry.
I was like, see, the snout's shorter.
Snouts? Yeah. You know what? If I run into them I'm not going to study it that quickly to find out whether it's a werewolf or a dog.
And then, like, in my head, I'm like, does the werewolf smell like Irish Spring? And the dogmen smell like, you know?
There's really bad, like really wet dog, bad smell people have reported. So there's also, it says, so the flatter snouts, plantigrade feet, meaning flatter feet, human-like torsos. So I think the muscle and the weight and the build, I think the arms are longer on a dogman than, say, it's a human with bigger hands, I think, in the fingers with the claws. But it seems like they resemble more human-like. And then it says, well, dogmen are more canine with digigrade legs, which we talked about, kind of the backwards bend, you know, with the toes and claws, and longer dog-like snouts. Werewolves may have varied eye colors, blue, yellow, red. Well, they just said that about the dogmen. Well, dogmen are frequently reported, so they're agreeing with what I've read and with my research. Well, dogmen are frequently reported with amber or yellow eyes though some sources flip this. Werewolves are tied to pop culture hybrid images such as Van Helsing. And it says, while dogmen resemble a consistently canine creature like an oversized upright German Shepherd. I have one at the end of the bed. A German Shepherd.
I mean, German Shepherds can be pretty big when they stand.
And scary. If they're not well behaved, yes.
I know, because there is one in our hood that is pretty not nice. And
huskies and shepherds are some of the worst dogs for violence and bad behavior and everything.
So I'm quite scared of it because it growls and tries to jump over our porch to get at me. So I'm very mindful of the time that they walk by early in the morning. And so I was out having my coffee. My other neighbor was out walking by with their dog, and I didn't know that it was her. I just heard walking and I thought, oh my God, I missed them. And I jumped up and came in the house fast. And I got a text from that neighbor. She's like, I've never seen you move that fast on your porch. I thought you were the arsehole dog. I'm sorry. I was going to be eaten to death by the German Shepherd.
That's why I've been telling you off air, Leanne, too, because we all have dogs and bigger size dogs. Well, good size dogs. Leanne's are similar to your dogs, actually, very similar size wise, almost color wise. But with shepherds, and I've always had little dogs, you do have to be on them, because if you know dog pack culture,
Well,
and you have to prove that you are, that they follow you and they're looking for that direction. And I believe that animals are like, the dogs are more balanced when they have someone to follow, especially when you look at their nature.
Well,
Right?
and you know that there's an issue because she carries a muzzle on her, because
Oh,
in the building that she lives, it's required for her to, because it doesn't like people, it doesn't like other animals, it doesn't like, it's very protective of her. So anyway. And I did a session for someone whose father was attacked by a pack of German shepherds just before he died. So, you see those images or hear those things, you get that stuck in your head. Anyway, I jumped up and she texted me after and she says, "I've never seen you move so fast." And I'm like, oh yeah. I was like getting in the house because I didn't want to be, breakfast number 2.
Well, I will tell you, you may have heard this story if you watch Angel Rock, and I've done a show by myself. I have mentioned this in my previous home with all the paranormal activity. I was talking to a friend on the phone. She was 3 hours away in the West Coast, and my hair wasn't purple then. I had a different color, and I just colored it. And we were talking. It was about probably 1 or 2 in the morning. And it was a Saturday night. She goes, "Oh my God, I love that." You know how women talk, right? Oh my God, I love the color. What brand was it? I go, "Hang on, I'm going to go outside and I'll grab the box." It's the garbage cans were right by the front steps. And I walk out and I look up, and probably about 10 feet away, the streets were fairly close together, there was this massive, massive, massive white shimmering wolf, like the size of a bus. And it was just walking ever so slowly. I was mesmerized, and it stopped. It looked at me. It had these aqua turquoise eyes. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm describing it. And it's walking very slowly. I didn't feel threatened. And my friend at the time was screaming at me, "Lorilei, get in the house, get in the house, get in the house." And I'm turning the phone going, "Why would I go in the house? Look at this. It's amazing." She couldn't see it. It got to the street, crossed, like it was like a T section. It's a suburban. It was like a cul-de-sac. It walked across the street. As soon as it got to the telephone pole, it disappeared. So finally, she was just going on and on and on. I finally went inside. I go, like, "What the heck?" She goes, "You didn't hear all that growling and snarling?" And I said, "No." But the weird part was, my eldest son was still up. He was a teenager at the time, and he was in his bedroom. He didn't know I was outside. He didn't know what was going on, but he yelled from his bedroom, "Mom, what was all that growling and snarling?" I couldn't hear it. I don't know what it was. And we also saw another time, one just as big on our side of the street from the security cameras, black, and had red eyes. Now, I'm not saying they're werewolves, but what the heck were they?
Thunder Bay, man. Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay, Ontario's got all the weirdness.
Mm-hmm.
It is the weird capital. So,
It
Greg,
is.
I had a German Shepherds my whole time, and their bark is worse than their bite. I get it. I think for me too, my brother, when we were 4 and 2, was bit in front of me by our grandparents' dog, and my brother loves dogs, but I mean his whole head, like it was pretty, it's a lot. And my brother's pretty good about it. He literally looks like Frankenstein. It's jagged up and down scar from temple to temple. And he was 2. So, I mean, I still love my dogs. My brother's a dog owner. But you get that. So I just know that this dog barks at everybody, where I'm watching her on this side of the street, that side of the street. She doesn't not necessarily feel in control of. I would feel fine if I felt that the owner was in control of. I would not be dashing into my house, for sure.
I will add this. Mish says she's been bitten on the backside by a German Shepherd at 16. She's scared of them. I will tell you, my dog wouldn't hurt a fly if we're with them. But I can tell you, if I wasn't home, I would not want someone coming in the door, because there's something weird about German Shepherds. I've had all different kinds of breeds of dogs. It's like they bond with one person, and they it doesn't matter what you do. They have to be with you. They follow it. And I know dogs are like that. There's something weird about them. I love them. I love big dogs. I'd never be without a big dog again. I feel safe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my other grandparents had a shepherd cross. It sounds like your son's dog, Greg, like that black and tan, but long haired and beautiful.
My girl's black and tan. All
yeah,
black.
and never had an issue. I want to come up. It's to Contessa's comment.
Okay, give me a sec. I'll find it unless you got it.
I've got it quick.
Okay, good. Go for
I'll
it.
pull it up. I think I'm pulling it up.
It's really a pain, isn't it? Like if you don't get it like right in the middle. There we go.
So Contessa is sharing in Portuguese folklore, if a family has 7 sons, the 7th son is cursed to be a werewolf. To break it, the 7th son has to be baptized in 7 different churches, and he has to be named Benito. Now that is interesting because the Michigan Dogman story, Michigan Dogman story, which kind of like took off in that folklore, whereas there is a true story of someone having this experience, and I sent you the video about his.
Yes, let's get into that. Let's get into that. Yeah.
But I mean, the story started with I think it was a dude from Traverse City, a radio DJ from Traverse City. And if I'm not sharing correctly, please correct me. But he was sharing this story, and it was sort of like a spoof. He wasn't really. He was just kind of sharing this story, kind of like when the person read the Orson Welles War of the Worlds on the radio, you know? And all of a sudden he was getting flooded. There was like 100 phone calls, stories, people seeing their sighting. So it just blew up. Like he didn't start off believing, but it just triggered all of these reports and sightings of the Michigan Dogman. And in the research, they are saying the sightings come on a 10-year cycle on a year that ends with 7.
I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard that before, Contessa, and I'm glad you saw that, Kerrilynn, because I seen it go by quickly, and that is interesting. And then, so Contessa, I'm going to ask you, having, I believe, a very good knowledge of, being Portuguese, have you ever run into that scenario? You don't have to name them, but any, say, a family, or there's a story that there was a 7th son, right? That wasn't named Benito and wasn't baptized. And you know what I mean? Like they went against what the belief system is. And were they rumored to be a werewolf? Did it start because they didn't follow what the belief system was? Do you get where I'm going from? You don't have to name any names, just if you've heard of somebody like that, or there was proof or something. Like, I'm sure they didn't transform as a werewolf in front of everybody, but it would be interesting to hear if there was any legend or lore of somebody like that.
And I just did a quick search just because I don't know numbers necessarily. Why the number 7? So biblical context, God completed creation in 7 days, with the 7th day being a day of rest and completeness. It's high vibrational number, blend of spiritual inspiration, material grounding, leading to wisdom, spiritual growth and guidance on one's path. But like, why the 7?
There's a movie out there. I forget. It was a long time ago. It was a Disney movie. It was a 7th son who had 7 sons, and that son had a lot of powers. I remember. It wasn't Percy Jackson, but it was something else about that I remember.
Does it start with a curse from long ago that people have been able to find the origins from? Was it 2 feuding families? Like, how does that, like, where does it originally come from?
Well, remember too, at the last minute, I remembered there is amongst family lines, and it seems to be more in South America, and it's called excessive hirsutism. There's a big long name for it. I have it in my notes if you want me to get really technical here. But these family members, each member of the family, not everybody, and it varies in degrees. Their faces are completely covered in hair, except for their eyes,
Right.
their bit of their nose, and their lips. And some of them have it even down their body. So, and it's called werewolf disease, is basically what they're calling it, or the werewolf gene. Like, where did that happen? How did it happen? And why is it running in families?
I don't know. I don't have the answers.
No, but even asking people.
I
have some pictures of it. If you want me to pull them up, I can. But I'm sure people have seen it. So how these people ended up making their way in the world was a lot of them working. Here it is, right here. They end up working for the carnival service, because there's some members of the whole family. I'll pull up right now. Give me a sec. Share screen. And it's not just this family, but it seems to run in familial lineages. Is it up there? So can you see? Like,
yeah.
And there, I've got another one of the little girl. And again, I feel really bad for the little girl. You can see they're quite hairy all over, but the faces aren't that color. That's all hair. And if they don't cut it or trim it or anything like that, they end up with this werewolf looking appearance. So that's a little spooky for them, I feel.
Yeah. Contessa is sharing, my mother did when she was young. She knew a family that had 7 sons, and they did baptize the 7th son in 7 different churches, and his name was Benito, and my mom was friends with him.
So, but he obviously wouldn't have fallen into, everybody talking about him being a werewolf, because his parents did what the belief was, right? I meant maybe somebody that didn't follow what was the belief, having, like she said, had 7 sons and baptized the 7th son in 7 different churches, or maybe they didn't call him Benito. One of the family members here that has done quite a bit of publicity that I just showed with the werewolf gene, his first name is Jesus. Like, what if they decided to call him Jesus? Or and is it belief that creates it?
This is it. If you believe that curse is not a real thing and changing the outcome, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Who knows? I had some dude tell me that the only reason why I could connect to the other side in the way that I do is because my family was cursed 10 generations back by God on the dad's side.
God doesn't curse. I'm sorry, and I'm not pushing my beliefs, but you don't. I think we're all in for a very surprising, lovely, lovely experience when it's our time to go back home. And again, I'm not pushing my beliefs on anybody, but.
So the video, if you guys want to look it up on YouTube, it's a truck driver captured the Michigan Dogman for the first time ever. And it's about Joe Barger. So Joe Barger was no stranger to long hauls and lonely nights of a trucker's life. With 6 years of the Army experience and decades navigating Michigan's back roads, the 59-year-old had seen a share of oddities, but nothing could have prepared him for what he would encounter on the fateful April night in 2022. So not that long ago, folks, a moment that would forever change his understanding of the world and the mysterious creatures that lurk in the shadows. Barger's journey began like any other routine run through the heart of Manistee National Forest, a vast expanse of dense woodlands and winding rivers steeped in history and folklore. And then there's it's about 20 minutes long, so it's too long for us to be able to.
That's why we would have pulled it up, because it's fascinating.
But
wasn't there hair left in his truck grill, you said?
Yeah, you can hear his story is wild, and so they interview him, so you're getting the firsthand account and seeing the images that he had. Contessa sharing, yes, it said that a family didn't follow this, and the son turned every full moon once he hit puberty. I believe this family moved, but I don't know much else about that family.
Thank you for sharing. Julie's Jean Bassett saying, no, every time I meet a Benito, I'm going to ask if he is the seventh son of the seventh son.
And that's super. And I never understood the seventh son of the seventh son thing. I've heard that phrase before, but I didn't understand what the issue was about being the seventh son. Now I get it.
Mm-hmm. There, like I say, you know, there's so much. And then I was really surprised, I got to roll back here a bit, that there are actually other, and again, we promised you guys at the beginning, sometimes we don't always get to it. Contessa says she would ask to. We try to do more moon type stuff around when the full moon's coming. So that was why we chose this. But I asked if there were other creatures. So I have so much information here.
So why don't I do, while you're finding what you would like to chat about, I'll do the station ID.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Go ahead. Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you for joining us, folks. If you are just joining us now, I am Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to Beneath the Hollow Moon, live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Lorilei Potvin, and we are going down the trail of werewolves and dogmen tonight. And we are grateful that you guys are here listening to us and joining us in the chat live.
Thank you for joining us. So I did find the other. It was pretty high up to the top. So I asked, are there any other mythical creatures or legend and lore that are sort of related to full moon transformations? It says, while werewolves dominate lunar-linked mythology, try saying that 5 times quick, other creatures are occasionally associated with the full moon, though less explicitly. Here are a few to talk about. Selkies, which we talked about with our mermaids from Celtic mythology, shape-shifting seal folk who transform by shedding their skins. Some tales suggest full moon nights enhance their abilities to shift or lure them to shore, though it's less standardized than werewolf lore. The kitsune, Japanese mythology, looks like a fox with 9 tails, basically. So it says fox spirits with shape-shifting abilities. What were you going to say?
I was like, oh.
I had a mold for Resident even for a kitsune. Then it says,
well, pretty, actually.
They are. Well, they can be pretty scary looking on depending who draws them or creates them. But I've seen some pretty nice looking ones too.
So are they feral? Like, do they seek revenge? Are they a good omen or a bad omen?
They're bad. That's what now please correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in the chat, but I have heard back in the legend and lore in Japan, they were considered almost a demon type animal spirit. Mm-hmm. So it says fox spirits with shape-shifting abilities, while not strictly tied to the full moon. Some stories describe their powers peaking under moonlight, especially during rituals or illusions. Now, this was interesting because I don't believe it goes hand in hand, though I did look at it. Wendigo, Algonquian mythology, a cannibalistic spirit that possesses humans, sometimes transforming them into monstrous forms. While not explicitly lunar, some modern retellings associate Wendigo transformations with the full moon, likely influenced by werewolf tropes. Now, we talked about this a bit, and I'd love for you to share, because it was Wendigo you were telling me about, right?
Yeah, and I would just want to make sure that I do this correctly.
Then I have berserkers. That's the last one, but while you're doing that, let me grab some comments.
Do you
want me to do that? Are you ready? If you're ready, if not, I'll read some comments.
Read some comments.
Okay. So Victoria from Astrolight Paranormal is saying there's a story where I live. Is she sort of in southeastern Ontario? We don't have to say the city, or southern.
Closer to Ottawa?
Yeah, so southeastern. There's a story where I live that in 1838, there was a wild man completely covered in hair. He was captured, and it said he had the instincts of a beast. Now, I have never heard of that living in Ontario my entire life. I need to know more. I want to know more. That sounds fascinating.
For sure. So it's Thomas Seawood. I just was having trouble remembering the last name. So
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So Thomas Seawood is British Columbia. He's from British Columbia. He is Indigenous. He talks a lot about Bigfoot, teaches, brings people out into the wilderness to connect with Bigfoot. I had him on Spirit Switchboard. He is such a great storyteller and so knowledgeable. And when asked about Wendigos, he feels Wendigos and his culture and his belief system that they are shunned Bigfoot. So Bigfoots that have gone rogue and have been pushed out of the community and have gone crazy. So that's his belief about Wendigos, is that they are part of the Bigfoot community that's been pushed out because they've gone rogue, and they take different pelts and look even crazier because they need to get resources and they don't have a community support anymore.
And insatiable hunger.
Insatiable hunger. Yeah.
And basically, from what I know of the legend, that you basically you live forever. And the stories I have heard, because we have a very strong First Nations Anishinaabe or Ojibwe culture. There's a bit of Cree up here as well. And, speaking to people within the culture, and it depends, like the legend changes all over. And I could see that even with Bigfoot, because I've even heard, we'll get to Bigfoot one day, I promise, because, really in depth, because I've heard too, people believing that they are the humans that didn't agree. If you go back to the creation of Adam and Eve, and they kind of went off in their own sect, and there's so, off world, there's so many different things depending on what people's beliefs are and what's been passed down from history. With Wendigo, though, I've heard that it's basically a shaman that's gone evil. Evil and not chose good.
Yes. And I see Kate.
I was going to read it. Do you want me to just pull up the last one that they mentioned? The last one they mentioned, and then because I thought that was an awesome comment Kasoon made.
I just have something I want to talk.
Go ahead then.
Add to that. No. You finish your stuff, and before we bring up Kasoon's, I'm going to share something.
Okay, so the last one associated with the full moon, because I thought it was interesting, because we usually associate full moons and werewolves. At least most people I've talked to do. So berserkers comes from Norse mythology. Warriors who entered a frenzied state, sometimes described as becoming wolf-like. While not directly lunar, the rituals were occasionally performed under moonlight, suggesting a loose connection. Because Kasoon really put up a comment.
I did. Okay, folks, so I did write that note down. So it was in 1987, so the year 7. Steve Cook, a DJ from Traverse City, he recorded the legend as an April Fool's Day joke about Dogman. And then after they played it, they got flooded with like 100 reports of sightings, right? So he just claiming real encounters, and it was
maybe just opened the door for people to have a safe space to share the story, because they knew back then you told people would have thought you were insane.
And I want to talk about Denny Sargent. So it's a precursor to Kasoon's comment. So Denny Sargent, I've had on the show. I really do adore Denny Sargent, and he's got a new book that just came out. He wrote Werewolf Magic. So
about this,
so he wrote Werewolf Magic. He came on last year and talked about it. I just really adore him. He's well researched, so he has the new book out as well too. So it's a structured spiritual practice, and he has researched werewolf lore and culture, and when you are talking about wolf pelts, having magic and using that to tap into that feral side, and so he really, it's part of a pagan path or animism path, connecting to that feral side of who we are through meditation and ritual and astral practice and tapping into that knowledge and community. So I'll just read real quick. So
Please do, yeah.
A structured spiritual practice rather than a belief system in literal physical transformation. So using ritual, meditation, and lunar symbolism to explore that animal self, that animal side, that untamed instincts and deeper nature. So he emphasizes voluntary inner transformation, not necessarily the, Hollywood physical styles. So it's inclusive, welcoming individuals of all genders and orientations. He explicitly rejects, bigotry in the practice in any way, shape, or form, and aligning with that ethos of wolves who accept and protect their pack regardless of differences, right? So you guys can check them out if you're interested in hearing more or learning more about what Denny has to offer.
And then do we want to highlight his?
Yeah.
I love that idea because I've just realized as you were reading that before I highlight it, we've actually really become a wolf house. I think I've sent you that picture of that wolf that we have outside. It's meant to be a door knocker. We have it to the side of our house. It's all beautiful silver. I painted the eyes almost like what I saw, like a turquoise. It's a 3D structure. And even in our living room, it wasn't my choice, but my partner, I always say it looks like a frat house, but everything hung up on the walls is all these beautiful murals of wolves. Again, wouldn't be my choice, but I don't get too averse to it because I do love wolves.
Mm-hmm. We had talked about it last time. So Kisun is sharing Nordic and Germanic myths, warriors called Ulfendar. I'm saying that all wrong. Wolf-coated wore wolf pelts and fought in a trance-like frenzy, like berserkers. People saw them as part man, part wolf.
I like that. Thank you for that, Kisun. I know I didn't come across that, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mish, you're asking these questions. What do they eat? Dogmen and werewolves, do they have tails or waggy tails? So, you were talking. I did take a look because I don't know. Did you come across anything about their diets, or because I do have some info.
Oh, I didn't. I just assumed, but.
So they're saying, I know definitely with dogmen without even looking, people have reported the tail. With werewolves, and it says in European folklore, and for example, the French loup garou or Norse uf de hedar, or however I'm probably not saying it right either. Werewolves are often described as transforming into full wolves or wolf-human hybrids. So when depicted as wolves, they do have bushy-like tails. So I think it just is a matter of people, how you perceive them or what you believe they look like.
What was the name of that park that we did a segment on? Because there was a lot of, Mish is saying could explain a lot of missing people. And so there are a lot of missing people in these national parks. And
I have the diet here too. So that would make sense. Yeah. That was the one in the North, what used to be the Northwest Territories. It's now gone. Was it a Iqaluit? Is that the one or was it a different one? I forget. They've renamed all the territories. So, but that park was insane. That was with the bear dog, remember?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So, agreed.
So it says for werewolves in European folklore, they were ravenous predators, werewolves, during their full moon transformations, consuming human flesh, livestock, or wild game. Dogmen, it says, are described as North American cryptids are described as apex predators eating large game, livestock, and occasionally carrion. So carrion basically no longer living, kind of like what a vulture would eat. Unlike werewolves, they're not tied to human transformation or curses. So their diet reflects a natural canine-like predator. Reports from Michigan, meaning the werewolf beast, and Wisconsin suggest they hunt in forests seeking sizable prey, because there's a lot of people that have reports out there, because we've done dogmen before, plus we've been aware of it. I've had people on that have studied them. there's been a lot of people that have had terrifying encounters with them, but they weren't attacked. They may have been stalked. I have a video in particular. I can't say whether it's an actual absolutely beyond the size of a dire wolf. Is it a werewolf or is it a dogman running at top speed beside a car? And again, running beside the car, but nobody's been attacked. They just think it's intense, insane terror because this thing is growling. That's why I knew about that, excuse me, eye color, because there's so many people report the eyes. Because sometimes when I'm doing, creative stuff at night, I think it's called Lilith or Lilith Bread, and people write supposedly stories in and she reads them. Have you listened to her too?
Yes.
And she's got a lot of dogmen stories, and it's her partner that also will read stories. He has his own channel. So there's a lot of dogmen stories. So people have really talked about this.
I wanted to find, I had somebody on Spirit Switchboard and they did a video and had a Beast of Bray Road experience themselves. So they did write about it, but they had other things happen at the same time, like other high strangeness things happen, which would make you wonder if there is some kind of dimensional stuff going on as well too. Like the magnetic strip for their hotel cards stopped working. They had those on. They saw these red eyes glowing at them that was super tall, hearing the growls and then there was a second noise from far away. So that would be, potentially that stalking. So do they scare them to move them out of the space because they are hunting something else? Is it dimensional? But they had other weird things happen that
Did the person that was talking for yourself, because a lot of people also report that they almost got, like they could pick up on the intelligence through the eyes of the dogmen, like high intelligence.
No, they just all got scared and did not spend much time locking eyes.
Thanks, Denise, but we did. She's asking if we did our station ID.
Oh yeah, I did it.
Thank you.
Maybe I need to do it slower.
Well, she had to leave. She had to leave.
Oh.
So she was just reminding, and we appreciate the reminder. I thought this was really interesting what Contessa is sharing, because even what you were just talking about, she says, one of my spirit animals is the wolf, female energy, and I dream of her whenever I'm worried about my son. This has happened since my son was very young.
Mm-hmm. Well, they are protective, especially females of males.
My eldest son, he's grown up with the woo-woo, as most of our kids are when we've been doing this for how long. I never pushed on either one of my children. But my son was going over to somebody's house, one of his friends, and I didn't know that the mother did some of the type of work like what we're doing. And he came home and he was so excited. So what had happened, they were all 14, and I guess the mom had asked them if they wanted to do a past life meditation, and all the kids apparently agreed. So my son came home and was telling me all about his life as a wolf. Before that, I had always been told that you can't have a life as an animal. I no longer believe that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he was so excited and came back with such great detail about what his life was, how he could remember his life partner as a wolf, a female wolf. And really, he must have talked to me for about an hour. And I was absolutely I was absolutely fascinated. Mm-hmm.
So, folks, it's Eric Mintel.
Thank you. I knew you'd find it if I kept rambling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Dominic Sattel, I've also had him on the show. He's a fabulous medium. So, and Eric Mintel, and Eric Mintel has a YouTube channel, and he actually has two, because they returned. They did two videos about the Beast of Bray Road, and the second one is Alive and Well, and that was when they had that experience, and that was in 2023.
Wow.
So, yeah, so they actually went on to a specific property that they have returned to because it is on that person's property. and had that experience. So you can look it up. It's Eric Mintel Investigates is his YouTube channel. There's 2 videos there about it.
I'm looking up, because what were your thoughts from having them on as guests? Did they think what the beast of Brer Road was? Because even as we were talking about movie culture, movie lore this afternoon, what popped into my mind was even Beauty and the Beast. Like, what was that beast? It looked very,
he was a curse, right? He was
Yeah.
cursed by when he was a prince. He was cursed. The prince was
I remember
cursed,
that.
and so that comes back to that.
But his appearance, right?
Looks like a werewolf. For sure.
So what did those gentlemen, in their opinion, what did they feel they picked up from the Beast of Brer Road? Was it more or less a ferocious wolf? Did they feel it was a dogman, or did they feel
like a dogman?
Dogman? Because we also got into a discussion, depending on who you're listening to or who you're speaking with, and I think it even goes along with Underworld in a way. Some people believe that werewolves have evolved and can now choose to, quote unquote, shift at will. They don't need the full moon. They've evolved quite a bit.
I have not heard that, but
I sent you a video today of someone talking about it, right?
You did.
That's not the first person I've heard this, because wasn't that the way, though, in Underworld, even if you think about it? Now, I'm not saying that's a true movie, but sometimes there's a little truth to even fictional movies, right? You got to use your intuition, and they could shift at will too, remember?
Yes. Yeah, they could.
And you couldn't call them werewolves because that was really disrespectful. They were lichens.
They were lichens.
And then there's a psychiatric condition called lycanthropy. Lycanthropy. We were talking about that today. That people believe they're wolves and that they transform at the full moon. Now, again, do they really? And people just think they're having hallucinations, because I've had this conversation, and I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose, but we even have schizophrenia on my dad's side, that some people, obviously you can tell they are very, very mentally ill. But there have been other people sharing hallucinations or what they believe they see or hear. And it's like, maybe they really are seeing and hearing, just because we're not. How do we know they're not seeing interdimensionally or something?
Or snorting bad bath salts.
Anything.
It's like, just are they doing something not good to get?
But are they able to see into that dimension? So with the lycanthropy, are they really shifting? Or is this, like, I would love to do a deep dive someday into it, just to see what the research says versus personal accounts. Heck, I'd love to interview somebody that really believes that maybe they are a werewolf. They're not doing it for show. Maybe they've even been diagnosed with this, and to hear their story and what they go through and why they believe this.
Yes, I read that too. Okay, soon.
Okay, want to share it?
The word lycanthropy comes from Lycaon, king who tried to feed Zeus human flesh. Zeus cursed him into a wolf. Boom, first official werewolf story.
I won't even go there, but I've seen some videos of the last couple days that there are people that do cannibalism. There has been, and I'm not going to bring up the name, but there's been a particular fast food restaurant that was discovered overseas that was supposedly mixing in that human flesh.
Shut up.
I swear to God to you. And they were shut down. Look up the chef Jamie Oliver.
No.
Look up. You don't get to see it. You will hear Jamie Oliver. The other thing that concerns me is there's a new type of cremation called a water cremation. And they tell you it's less toxic because you're not burning anything into the air, and they use chemicals with the water. And then they tell you, and I recently heard a YouTube channel I follow, they chose a water cremation for their dog. And they're supposed to get the liquid back and it's supposed to be very fertile and be able to put it on your plants. And when your garden grows, you think of your pet. But they are doing this with humans as well. And where you don't get the liquid back. So where is that liquid going? Is it going into our water supply? I'm not trying to be a conspiracy queen here, but I'm going back to this.
Are you reading my thoughts?
But we always read each other's thoughts, it seems. We're going back to this legend here. So what if you were God forbid, I would not want to find this out, but God forbid you were drinking it or consuming it without your knowledge. Some food for thought, folks. Because Contessa said that's cool. I never heard of that one. Look up Jamie Oliver. You won't see anything morbid, but look up Jamie Oliver from the UK.
So this week we are doing something a little different for our listener submission. We chose a video to play for you guys. It's still 2 stories that are true stories that were submitted into someone who shared the stories on TikTok. So we are just going to share this video of the 2 stories and then get your thoughts on the stories after.
I have so many videos, you guys. Here, let me load her up and then I got to get it to stop because I think I went to TikTok because of the right size videos for us to be able to share here. Okay, stop now. Stop. Okay, we'll get it right to the beginning. No, stop now. Okay, there we go. And it started again. No, stop, please. I'll restart at the beginning once we get it loaded. Now, you guys may recognize this young lady. She's absolutely gorgeous. Not that matters. I think she's a very good storyteller too. And people send her stories of the strange, the unusual, the crazy. So I got the volume on, right? Let's get it right at the beginning here.
2 different people emailed me about werewolf sightings. And I didn't think anything of the first one, but when the second came in, I realized there might be something to this because both emails were from different people, but from the same area, which is London, Ohio, if you're familiar. I'm going to tell you Cody's story first because I feel like it builds for the second story, and the 2 stories might be related. Cody said I could use his real name. He didn't care to be tagged, but if you see a Cody in the comments, that's him. This story is actually Cody's father's. Cody's dad was an avid outdoorsman, fisherman. He was used to being alone in the woods for long stretches of time, and nothing really scared him except for when he told this story. Cody said he was not a man of hyperbole. He did not believe in the supernatural. He was scientific-minded, except he could tell when he told this story that he believed it. The way that my phone just fell, but Cody's description of his father reminds me of my own father because he's very scientific-minded, but he also has one story that he can't explain. I'll tell that some other time. Cody said 30 years ago, his dad went out fishing in the middle of the night on a large man-made lake near London, Ohio. Cody said he was out in the middle of the lake fishing near a spillway, which is a structure that allows excess water to flow around a dam. I had to look that up. And then there was a road. He's out there for a little while when he looks up near the spillway and he sees a large wolf-like creature standing on 2 legs staring at him. I don't know how far away he was, but he said for sure it was a wolf or a dog creature, but it was 7 feet tall when it stood on its hind legs. And it stood for long enough where Cody's dad knew that it wasn't a regular dog. And the way that this upright wolf creature was staring at him, like, sunk his heart into his gut. He sat still for a few seconds. His heart was racing in his chest and he was watching it watch him. When he moved to get the boat closer, the wolf took off running on 4 legs. Apparently, this sighting freaked him out enough where he packed it up and he went home. He didn't tell anyone for years because he didn't want to be perceived as someone who's seeing cryptids in the middle of the night. Until one night, his sister, so Cody's aunt, comes home. She was out riding around with her friends in the woods, and she comes home and claims that she saw a wolf-like creature standing on 2 legs in the woods. She was also apparently near the lake when she saw it. So now it's common lore in Cody's family that both his father and his aunt have seen this same creature. And this leads me to my second story, which was sent in by a man named Paul. Paul sent this story in December. I was keeping it in my back.
Pausing it just for a sec so that we do what we're supposed to on YouTube. Stop for a minute. Yeah. Hi, Dean Mallows. He's here. We might as well remind people right after us. The second night of Out is coming up with their own wonderful Michelle DeRoche. Oh. I'd also like to say hi to Angela Laura 28, who has also joined us on Instagram. Were you going to say something, hun?
Nope.
Okay.
Hello.
Second part of the story.
Back pocket, because to be honest with you, I don't really believe in cryptids, or I didn't. But I also want to be fair and transparent because if I ever assume that I know everything, then I'm never learning. So I'm going to keep an open mind. And both of these stories make me think that maybe there's something I'm missing. Paul's story takes place in 2007. He was 19 at the time, and his aunt and uncle owned a cabin-like house where they had chickens and some other animals in London, Ohio, near a large man-made lake. I don't know if it's the same, like I'm not familiar with the area, but the similarities in these two stories are striking to me. So Paul's aunt and uncle are taking this long-awaited vacation. Apparently they didn't have a ton of money, so they didn't travel much. And they asked Paul if he'll stay at their house and keep an eye on their chickens and their dogs. Paul was still living at home at the time with his parents, not too far from where his aunt and uncle lived, and he is excited to have a house to himself and to just feel like he's a bachelor. He also said that he had started seeing his girlfriend at the time, and he was excited to have some alone time with her. They're going on a cruise. The day they're leaving, Paul goes over there so they can give him instructions on how to take care of all the animals. This is my own.
I'm going to stop you for a sec. If you guys want to find her channel, it's Ashley, A S in Sam, H L as in Leo, E E Inc. All one word. I N as in Nancy, C as in cat. Just so you know.
Little werewolf, Ozzy. I had to pick her up because she's bad and she was barking. His aunt gives him a rundown of how to properly take care of all of the animals, and before they leave, his uncle points to a drawer, opens it, and says, "There's a pew-pew in here. If you hear banging on the door, take it out and don't be afraid to use it." Paul's like, "What are you talking about? This is more than I signed up for." And his uncle says, "Yeah, there's an effing werewolf running around here." Paul's aunt rolls her eyes. She pulls him aside before they leave, and she says he had to pew-pew something that came to the door a few years ago, and he hasn't been right since. Paul said his uncle was like a backwoods type of man. He was a veteran. He drank a lot. He had severe PTSD from being in a few wars. He rambled often about government conspiracies. So Paul knew that he wasn't exactly a trustworthy source, and he just didn't believe that there was a werewolf living on their property. The first night Paul was there alone, nothing happened. He went to work, came home, went to bed. He wakes up in the morning. He takes care of the animals. He's off that day, so he invites the girl he's seeing to come stay the night with him at his aunt and uncle's house. They're Netflix and chilling in the bedroom, whatever. I don't know what streaming service was available in 2007, but they're in the bedroom. They're awake. There was only one single window in the bedroom, so Paul looks at the window and he sees a pair of eyes peering in. It's too dark for him to make any features, but he said they were glowing, not in like a yellow or a red way, but the way that a pair of animal eyes glow if light catches them. I know exactly what he's talking about. I have a cat named Pete who looks at me in the dark, and it's the same thing. If you have a cat, you've seen this. So Paul's like, "What the?" And he jumps up to scare the animal away, but as soon as he gets up from the bed, the animal runs off into the woods. He gets back in bed, and a few minutes later, they hear a loud banging at the front door. Paul said it sounded like a SWAT team was trying to break down the door. It was like bang, 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 and the door was wood, but there was a set of metal bars that Paul's uncle had installed on the exterior of the front door. He also clocked it at this point that there were also bars on all of the inside windows. Paul said it was not the wind, it was something trying to break the door down. The door was wooden, it was like bang, 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 and the door was splintering around the edges. The plaster at the hinges started cracking. Paul's girlfriend is screaming, freaking out at this point. He says, "You need to call 911. She calls 911 on her flip phone and she puts it on speakerphone. They're like, "Someone's trying to break into the house." And the 911 operator can hear the banging. She says, "Stay on the phone while we send dispatch." At this point, the door is visibly shaking. So Paul goes to the drawer where his uncle showed that object and he takes it out because at this point, he fully believes that this door is about to come down. He braces himself against the wall, aims at the door, and prepares for the door to come down. And then it stops. The 911 dispatcher's on the line and she's like, "Are you still there? Are you okay?" And they're like, "It stopped." She said, "You know, the police are on their way. Just stay safe. Is there a way that you can protect yourself?" And they're just standing in the living room, breathing heavy, catching their breath in silence. When all of a sudden they see a dark, about 7-foot figure walk past the front window and look into the house. Paul said from the light of the living room, he could see the features, and it stood about 7 feet tall. It had dog-like ears, pointy ears, a long snout, and it turned and looked in the living room. He said it was covered head to toe in fur, and when he made eye contact with it, it seemed to raise its eyebrow, which he noticed there was a scar. The scar was ugly and jagged, and there was no fur growing where the scar was. It stood for a few seconds, glaring at him, and then it took off on 4 legs and ran into the woods. The police came later. They found large paw prints, which they attributed to a large dog, but did not find any trace of people. Paul said that his aunt and uncle did have neighbors, but they were a ways away, like nobody within earshot of the house. And the house had a long driveway that you had to drive down in order to make it to the house. Paul continued taking care of the animals and watching the house until his aunt and uncle returned. But he didn't sleep there. He stayed at his parents' house after taking care of the animals. He did have his ex-girlfriend, the girl he was dating at the time, reach out to me to verify his story and ask her any questions if needed. They're not together anymore, but they're still friends. And she doesn't live in the area anymore, but she says she fully believes after that night that there are werewolves living in those woods, or at least one werewolf. She also told me that there is a famous story about a werewolf in London, Ohio, but that most people in the area just think that it's just folklore. Paul also said I could use his real name, so if you see a Paul in the comments, that's him, and feel free to ask either him or Cody any questions. And keep sending me your spooky, scary stories. I guess I'll do more cryptids because they're fun. Also, if you follow me from this video and you get an immediate request and message from me, it's not me. A lot of people have been using my profile picture to try to scam people out of money. So just...
So is that Dogman though, or werewolf? That's how I would go Dogman.
I think, well, let's ask people what they think. I'm just going to say hi to Wendy Javor. I have not seen her forever, and she popped in on Instagram. Nice to see you, Wendy. Hope all your little, well, they're not little anymore. They're all grown up. Your little people that are with you, big people now. Well, I guess we haven't seen much, but if you guys want to add your 2 cents worth, we'd love to. That sounded like Dogman to me.
Mm-hmm. But then again, like I know that you read the snout may be different, but she said they're saying this longer snout.
And dog like, but then as I was listening to her, and I was thinking, yeah, but werewolves and wolves, like all dogs supposedly descend from wolves, so they're going to have.
But if it was a werewolf so a person that has morphed, would they not have a scar or issue because it was shot?
I don't
If
know.
we feel that.
If it's the same one, though. But it was interesting, though, that it raised one eyebrow. I thought that's more human-like, kind of, right? She said that. The guy reported that's how he noticed the scar. It raised one eyebrow at him.
And it was scarred.
Yeah, but then there's the theory out there that werewolves have superhuman abilities to heal when they are in the state. I've seen that in many of the legend and lore, they can heal very quickly.
So if they heal, then the scar would be leaning more towards Dogman than werewolf.
Or did it have the scar before as a human being? And I don't know. I've never heard the superhuman.
Have more questions?
I got questions. Mm-hmm. It was an interesting story. And I like her because I think she's honest. Like I don't know if the beginning of it started, but I think I'd seen this originally on Facebook, and I went to to TikTok to get the whole thing. And at the beginning of it, I'm positive it was this one. She said, I don't really have much interest in cryptids, except that this story, 2 different people that didn't know each other from the same area sent me a story about this. Okay, so Wayne Mallows is saying scars can be caused by many means. It could have occurred by fighting with other dogmen. Agreed. Because I've never heard superhuman healing with dogmen.
No.
Well, they said, okay, so Cindy says, I don't have a question, but I'd be terrified if it would break in the window. This sounded like I was picturing it. The screws on the doorway were like shaking, like the door was going to come down. Like, that's pretty darn powerful. Mm-hmm. And why didn't it break a window? Mm-hmm. Why did it leave as they were on the phone with 911? Obviously, they could see it.
Mm-hmm. And if their hearing would be good, so he would be hearing the drawer and the pew pew being put together.
Well,
right?
Paul didn't use the pew pew. His grandfather did, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. So Wayne's adding, dogmen are a species, whereas I feel that a werewolf is something supernatural. I appreciate your thoughts on that. I do. I got questions.
Shoot.
No, I mean, like, I just rhetorical.
In general. Yeah. I think all of it is stuff that is fun to chat about, and that it's hard to have all the answers.
Well, plus with werewolves, if you ask me if I picture them, they're not completely covered in hair. Their arms, like to me, and I've never run into one, and I don't want to. I'm not putting it out in the universe, but their arms seem to be more in proportion to the size, even though they may be larger than the human they morphed from. Everything's in proportion, and like when we compared them earlier, they had more flat-like feet, though very icky in the way of a bit of hair and I'll say, and claws. Whereas the dogmen had those strange, almost backwards like legs. People describe them like they were very dog-like. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think is the difference? We got a few minutes between dogmen and werewolf, if you feel into both of them. What do you think, Kerrilynn?
About dogmen versus werewolf?
Mm-hmm. We didn't even get into skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers.
We're going to talk about them when we did it.
I know, because then you add that in. So I tend to lean with Wayne.
Yeah, me too.
But I have questions like, even if it's a species, could that species not have abilities as well too? Like, just when, just from listening to the stories from Dom and Eric about the other high strangeness that happened with that encounter with a beast of Bray Road, there was something supernatural that was going on at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And then Mish brought up earlier, there's a lot of missing kids and missing people. Are those the people that never got to tell their story that could have been, maybe, I'm not putting it all on Dogman, I'm just saying, every story we've heard, people reported being extremely terrified, but they weren't attacked. How do we know that there aren't some species out there that do, but the person just goes missing?
They cherry pick. You look like a good snack, or you look like you should be turned into something.
Yeah, I could smell what your last week of meals was, and it sounds like it would look good in my belly.
And do werewolves get turned into werewolves just from a
bite or a curse?
Or a curse.
Well, I'm even thinking just right off the top of my head, Harry Potter, right? A bite. You go back to, and I know these are not great movies to take. They're just coming off the top of my head. The werewolves in Twilight. I know it's not a real story, but it had some historical legend back to the Quileute tribe. And whenever vampires supposedly showed up, that's what activated the werewolf gene. So it was something genetic. I don't know. And I'm not saying it's a true life story. I know it's not a serious documentary. I'm just saying sometimes there is a little bit of truth.
Well, there's a little bit of research that needs to happen as well too, right?
I believe that vampires do exist. Now, do lichen as well, or werewolves? I don't know. I do believe I believe I've just heard too many stories, especially in certain parts of the world, like New Orleans, where we're broadcasting from. Even if we can get Joe Montaldo, sometimes get him talking about that. Is it Armando's restaurant? I forget what it's called, down in the French Quarter, that's been there for like 120 years. And there's portraits of the various owners, and they all look the same, except they're dressed in period piece. They all look the same, including the owner today.
Well, it's not Dorian Gray.
Yeah. I don't know. That's the fun about talking about these things.
I know.
We get to talk, and
I know. But yeah. I just think that watch that. I would love you guys, if you watch that video of the trucker from 2022. Let's come back, because there's a picture in there as well too, and that
I'm going to watch the rest. I told you why it got pulled away, because I had so many videos for tonight. But don't worry, folks, there'll be another time that we'll pull them out and show them to you. But I wanted to label them so I could find them. Go ahead, Kerrilynn.
And we'll I know, because we talked about it once before. There's always so much information that, the next time we'll include a little bit more about the Wendigos and Skinwalkers, and maybe we need to do Dogman versus Werewolf, or Dogman versus,
and pull in the Skinwalkers too, because that kind of came up in a bit of our research. I know they're not one and the same, but
they do come up.
We are almost out of time, so you guys can stay tuned for a fantastic show with Michelle DeRoche on the second night of the Outer Realm coming up next. You want to take us out? You have such a great ending tonight.
Sure. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us tonight and being part of the conversation, part of the show. You guys help make the show what it is, and we appreciate and love all of you.
Do you have anybody on the show tomorrow night on Spirit Switchboard? We should tell them that.
Yes, tomorrow. So last week, and I'll probably mention it again tomorrow on Spirit Switchboard, 6 p.m. Eastern. I had Azria Beckham on talking about generational frequency, alien DNA for us. And she did a reading for my mom and I, and we were talking about generational. So this week she's coming back on, and we're going to be chatting with my niece Maya and my sister Christy. And Christy's been on before. She seems to be a fan favorite. She's a lot of fun. She's the funny one. She's the baby in the family. So she's going to be on the show tomorrow night.
And on Monday, I have Jeff Belanger coming on, who is an author of the paranormal. At least I believe he is. I'll touch base with him on the weekend, but he's booked to come on, and I hope he does. I met him at the Paracon last year here in Thunder Bay. He was a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll have fun. We have a mutual friend, Bella Ventura, who's been on many times and on your show. So look forward.
His new book just came out. His new book just released, and it was #1 today on Amazon for Ghost and Horror. It is Wicked Strange.
I'm glad you told me that, because he hasn't sent me anything about himself yet. And so I'll know.
His new book is #1 on Amazon right now in that genre. So it's called Wicked Strange.
So happy. Okay, take us out with your great. She wrote such a great ending tonight.
Thank you to UPRN, the United Public Radio Network, and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. Thank you to Joe Montaldo, our owner, and Michelle DeRoche, our network manager. So whether born of myth or whispers, both werewolf and dogman teach us about fear, identity, and the wild within. So stay curious, watch those woods at night, and don't follow the whispers.
Plus, what do we got next week? We got a good one.
We are talking about Mothman and the Jersey Devil.
See you next week, you guys. Have a good one.
Night.